All right, what's going on, community? Today we're going to talk about a topic around blogs. A lot of people have asked me throughout the years, what is the importance of blogs? Should I be doing it? When should I start doing a blog? And so I thought I'd cover this hot topic that so many people have been asking about. So I think we'll cover it in two sections. Do I think you need to do a blog? Yes, I do think it's important when. We'll get to that a little bit later, but let's talk about some of the kind of benefits you get when you do have a blog for your business. And obviously don't just have one, but be actively posting on it. So that means at least posting, I'd say once to one time per week to 2 times per week, my apologies. And then from there kind of building up. If you do kind of grow the business, obviously you'll be going a little bit further than that, but I think once every week or once every 2 weeks should be fine for most people, especially when you're starting out. But yeah, so some of the ways or benefits that you will get is obviously improved SEO, and directly how it does that is with the content that you're building. Obviously Google loves content, right? So the more content that's available on the net, the higher your page will rank, just because it's kind of like, let's say you had an encyclopedia, and the more pages obviously the better, right? Because there's more information. Now you do want those to be quality pages, but nonetheless it does help when you do have a blog with kind of some value there. So let's talk about it a little bit more. Some other stuff that are there is outbound links. So whenever you put an outbound link to, let's say, a reference of a site where you pull some data from, depending how well that site's SEO performs, you're actually going to get authoritative kind of scoring points, let's call it, from Google by saying, okay, well, they pulled this data from a good source, so that definitely makes sense. It must be more legitimate than whether if they didn't have kind of that link to a authoritative website. So that's one good thing to keep in mind. If you do decide to go ahead with kind of building your own blog, make sure that you are putting in authoritative links, so outbound links to people or companies where you have received this data from, because it does help. And if you haven't used data from it, I would recommend that you do, or at least find somewhere where you can go link to include maybe a tip that somebody else shared, so that way you can put outbound links. Now the third piece of that is also keeping inbound links. So you do want to have inbound links with basically internal links, I should say, probably a better terminology for it. But so internal links go within your website, and so that's what you're going to use to kind of score pages that Google will determine which one's better than the other, right? So within your own page, let's say usually your home page will have the most links there, and then your services page might have the next amount of most kind of links towards that page, and it's kind of like a funnel. And so the way Google will rank your pages is highly based on the amount of internal links that you use within your pages. So if your home page has the most but your services page has the least, and your blog has, let's say, the second most, well, your blog is going to rank higher than your services pages, no matter even if you don't want it to. So if you want to rank that services page higher than the blog, make sure you're putting more internal links into the blog, so that way Google knows that, hey, this page is of more importance to us. Now let's talk about when do you need to kind of bring in a blog. I think that some people get kind of too worried about SEO at the very beginning. So if you're just starting out within your first year, and let's not time it by year because some people grow quickly, but let's just say you're only one guy or gal, 2 people doing this business, and you've just started out, I wouldn't worry too much about getting a blog out unless you have a lot of readers. It does take time to build a community, and it does take time to get up on Google. So I think, just being a business person, there's a lot of better things you could be doing with that time when you're first starting out, going out, getting sales, improving the process, stuff that can bring a lot more kind of leads and then a lot more direct revenue opportunities to your business than a blog. But I definitely think once you hit year 2, year 3, that's when I personally did it for my business, and I found more time. That's when it might get interesting to bring in a blog. Now there's a few different ways you can do this. Unless you're a big company, you don't need somebody in-house for this. So the way we do it is we outsource everything. Now when we first started out outsourcing things, we were just using Fiverr and doing really the cheapest one, and then I would improve it myself. As we got a little bit bigger, I started hiring better people, so going from let's say that $5 mark to the $20 mark per blog, and they were a lot better. I had to do less improvements to it. They would let me know which links they've used before going out to get the data points. So those are things that got improved not only by the price point, but by kind of my experience with dealing with them and how to know what to ask them for, and as well finding the right one, right? Once you get to work with someone repetitively, you don't have to train that person on how you like things done. They already know. So that was a good thing. Now we're looking at Upwork as well. So we've done 1 or 2 there. But definitely I do think if you go between kind of Fiverr and Upwork based on the quality level that you need, you will be able to outsource completely, and now you don't have to worry about it and you don't have to hire someone full time. But I do think there will be a point in time where, once we get much bigger, where we will just bring someone in-house to do it as well. So those are kind of, I think, the stages that you might go through on when do you need a blog. So again, let's recap. Year 1, you should have a blog. Not so much. Year 2 and 3, I think that's when you need to bring in a blog, and then start with kind of the cheaper ones and work your way up. And as well, let's talk about some ways where we might be able to benefit from a blog and really optimize our blog. So I have a few pointers here. So make sure, number 1, you have a blog page where all your blogs are posted. I don't even know if I said number 1 or 2, but that would be number 1. Number 2, what you want to do is bring in that outsourced kind of worker that you're going to hire, whether on Fiverr, Upwork, get the process down, giving them subjects, be as specific as possible, which is very important with these. And if you must, make sure you ask for revisions. Sometimes they try and push it out quickly. So if you ask for a revision, they're going to put a little bit more time because they don't want to have to redo it again a 3rd time, right? So sometimes you just need to push a little bit further. Once you've worked with someone enough, they'll understand what quality level you expect. So once you find someone you like, I kind of stick with it, but bounce around until you do. The 3rd point that I have here is make sure you're doing internal linking, of course. So make sure you're pointing to the pages which are important to you. I would say per 1,000-word blog post, you have at least 1 internal link and at least 1 outbound link. Now again, just use that as a baseline. You can improve from there on. 2 of each might not hurt. You don't want to have too many, but you don't want to have too little. So it's finding that medium right there. Make sure, on the 4th point, what I'd like to add is make sure you guys are putting call to actions when necessary. Don't be that guy or girl who spams and just puts a ton of call to actions, or 1 or 2 even on every single blog post, because that gets annoying. People know you're trying to sell. You don't really care about what you're doing. A blog should be more of a passive sale. It means you're informing people once they have the information and they came across your blog 3 or 4 times to answer a question they've had in their head. Well, they know that you're an authoritative person for that subject base, and so then they'll consider you. And once they see, by the 3rd or 4th, you have a call to action. But if they see you have a call to action on every single page of your blog, and they see that a lot, they're going to think, hey, this guy's very pushy, or this business is very pushy. So you don't want to do that. Number 5, picking a subject. So the way I like to do that is I'm actually going to go on the web. I'm going to research questions that my customers ask me. So for example, for us, people might ask, what's the best way to do SEO? Or for example, this, does a blog really help? Or how should I build my blog? And find one of those questions that don't have many answers to them. And I'm actually going to take that, I'm going to make that my subject line. Because now you can easily rank for that keyword because nobody else is trying to compete for it. Whereas people try and write blogs about very competitive keywords, and there's so many big companies out there, you can't really beat them. So when you're first starting out, use low searched and low competitiveness keywords, because you can get those long tail keywords, but you actually dominate the rankings. And now the last point, number 6, is to make sure that you write a title that's eye-catching, of course. That's pretty obvious, but some people kind of pass over it. The title is almost the most important thing in the entire blog, so I keep that usually to myself. I write all of our titles. If you can't do it well, find someone who you know is good, copywriters. They're a little bit expensive, so it kind of gets hard for that. But just find something that's catchy and will get someone's attention as they're scrolling by, and has the question that they're asking, has that in the title, because obviously they want the answer to that. So that's it for today. Thanks guys, and take care.